The Young and the Restless Spoilers. Welcome back to our channel, you guys. Today is Tuesday, a beautiful day outside, but a totally dark and stormy day in Genoa City. Grab a huge cup of coffee because we have a lot to unpack today. So let's just get right into it because I am honestly still vibrating with rage over what happened on the show today. Sally Spectra is being pushed to the absolute brink, and you guys, it is so hard to watch. I mean, we have been following this storyline for what feels like forever, and it just keeps getting darker and darker. Sally is completely exhausted. She is bone tired from being constantly squeezed and manipulated and outright sabotaged by Victor and Adam. And for what? That is $1 million question. She has been running Newman Media, and she has been doing an incredible job. The numbers are up. The company is thriving under her leadership. She is literally making them money, but because she is Sally Spectra, because she doesn't have the sacred Newman last name stamped on her forehead, she is being treated like absolute garbage. Why is she being targeted when she is doing exactly what she was hired to do? It makes zero sense from a business standpoint. But then again, when has Victor Newman ever cared about good business when he can play his twisted little psychological games instead? He just loves to torture people who don't bow down to him. And Adam, oh my God, don't even get me started on Adam. What is his deal? Why does he always fold when it comes to his father? It is so frustrating. I mean, a few episodes ago, he was supposedly trying to protect her, but now he's just standing there like a statue while his father ruins her. It makes no sense. Well, maybe it makes a little sense because he is terrified of Victor, but still, come on, Adam, be a man, stand up with a woman who is carrying a child. But no, he just stands there. But honestly, the worst part of all of this is how incredibly isolated Sally is right now. She wants to fight back. You know she does. We all know the fiery, scrappy Sally who claws her way to the top. She desperately wants to push back against this massive corporate machine that is trying to crush her. But she just doesn't have the power. She doesn't have the resources or the backing to take on Victor Newman in a boardroom brawl. And she is so incredibly depressed because no one is helping her. No one is stepping up to the plate. Where is her support system? Where is the cavalry? It's just Sally, standing alone on this island while the wolves circle her. It is genuinely heartbreaking to see someone who has fought so hard to prove herself to be systematically broken down by men who have everything, but still want to take the one thing she has built for herself. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. The absolute most critical factor in all of this. Sally is pregnant. She is heavily pregnant and literally about to give birth. This isn't just some casual workplace. This is high stakes, life or death medical territory. Her doctor has explicitly warned her. They told her she needs to step away from the battle. She needs to leave the war zone, that is Newman Media, and just let her body relax and stabilize. And who can blame the doctor? We all know Sally's tragic history. We all remember the absolute devastation of losing baby Ava. That trauma doesn't just go away. It lingers. It haunts you. And now she is facing this immense, crushing pressure while carrying another child. The medical advice is sound. Walk away, Sally. Just walk away and save yourself and your baby. So the expectation, the logical next step that everyone, especially Victor, thought was going to happen was that Sally would just quietly bow out. Victor probably sat in his giant leather chair, steepling his fingers, fully expecting Sally to come in, cry a few tears, and take an early maternity leave. He thought he had won. He thought he had squeezed her exactly enough to make her surrender Newman Media back to him without a fight. He wanted her to just fade into the background and be a good, quiet little victim. And maybe for a second Sally considered it. Maybe she thought about just taking the easy way out for the sake of her health. But if Victor Newman actually believed Sally Spectra was going to go quietly into the night, he has lost his damn mind, because Sally didn't do that. She absolutely refused to just take a leave of absence and let them win. She refused to let them dictate the narrative. Instead of sending an email or quietly packing her desk, she walked right into the lion's den. And guys, the scene was just, it was cinematic. I could practically feel the tension through the screen. She walks into that office, heavily pregnant, carrying the weight of the world, but her eyes are just blazing with absolute fury. She is not defeated. She is furious. She was just so done with him. And then she does it. She doesn't just resign. She grabs all the contracts, all the legal documents tying her to Newman Media, and she tears them up right in their faces. Just rip, rip, rip. The sound of the paper tearing in that quiet room was so loud. It was such a visceral, powerful moment. I was literally screaming at my screen. She is tearing up her security, her job, her connection to their toxic family, and she is throwing it right back at them. It was a massive middle finger to Victor and Adam. She is handing Newman Media back to Victor, but she is doing it on her terms. She is rejecting them, not the other way around. I mean, think about the history here. Think about how many times Victor has done this exact same thing to women who dare to step out of line. He did it to Victoria. He did it to Phyllis. He did it to Nikki. It is a pattern, a huge, glaring pattern. And the fans on social media are noticing it too. Twitter is blowing up right now with people just dragging Victor for being a bully. What were they thinking? Who actually believes this is going to end well? You do not back a cornered animal into a wall, especially a mother protecting her child and her legacy, and expect her not to bite back in the way Adam just looked away when she was tearing up those papers. Oh my God. I actually felt a little bit of pity for him for a split second, but no, actually, I take that back. I don't pity him at all. He deserves whatever is coming to him. He chose his side. He chose his father's approval over the woman he supposedly cared about. And Sally finally realized that she cannot rely on him. She cannot rely on anyone but herself. That realization was written all over her face. It was devastating, but also so empowering. She is taking her power back, even if it means walking away from the empire she helped build. But it didn't stop there. Oh no. The absolute best part of this entire confrontation was what she said before she walked out that door. She looked Victor and Adam dead in the eye, and she delivered a threat that gave me actual chills. 7 words. Just 7 terrifying, heavy words that hung in the air like a death sentence. She didn't need a long monologue. She didn't need to scream or cry or throw things. She just looked at them with this cold, dead expression, and she dropped the bomb. She looked right at them and said, "I will burn your entire empire down." 7 words. Just let that sink in for a second. I will burn your entire empire down. It was a mic drop moment for the ages. She didn't wait for a response. She didn't stick around to hear Victor's usual condescending speech about how he built everything from nothing. She just turned around and walked out, leaving those 7 words echoing in that sterile, soulless. It was perfect, just perfect. And of course, Victor was sitting there looking smug. He got what he wanted. He got Newman Media back. He loves having control. He loves feeling like the puppet master who successfully pulled the strings and got the puppet to dance off the stage. He's probably celebrating in his head, thinking he neutralized a threat. He thinks because she is pregnant and stepping down that she is weak. But honestly, Victor is making a massive, catastrophic mistake if he thinks this is over. He is severely underestimating Sally Spectra, because Sally's threat wasn't just empty words. Those 7 words weren't just a dramatic exit. She is going to act. You can see it in her eyes. She is going to take this time. She is going to have her baby. She is going to heal. And then she is going to come back with a vengeance that Genoa City has never seen. She knows their secret. She knows how Newman Media operates from the inside out. She knows Adam's weaknesses, and she knows Victor's blind spot. She is a loaded weapon right now, and Victor just handed her the motivation to pull the trigger. Honestly, this entire storyline is just a masterclass in why you shouldn't mess with Sally. Yes, the flow of this whole corporate takeover plot has been a bit clunky in places. Sometimes I feel like the writers are just throwing obstacles at Sally for the sake of trauma. Like, okay, maybe I'm being too harsh on the writers, but you get what I mean. It feels like they just want to see how much she can take before she snaps. Well, she snapped, and I am entirely here for the villain era, or the anti-hero era, or whatever you want to call it. And we can't forget how this is going to affect her personal life moving forward. Having a baby is hard enough, but having a baby while plotting a massive corporate revenge scheme, that is peak soap opera drama. I just hope she actually takes a minute to breathe. The doctor wasn't wrong. She needs to prioritize her health right now. But knowing Sally, she is probably going to be drafting up battle plans from her hospital. She is just built different. And honestly, that is why we love her. That is why we keep tuning in, even when the storylines make us want to pull our hair out. She brings that fire that the show desperately needs right now. So what happens next? We are going to have to wait and see. But I am telling you guys right now, keep your eyes on Sally. She is going to give birth. She is going to find her footing. And then the Newmans better watch their backs. Because when Sally Spectra promises to burn an empire down, she brings the matches. I just hope the show actually follows through with this and doesn't just have her forgive them in a month. We need to see her follow through on those 7 words. We need to see the fallout. Anyway, I need to go lie down because this episode spiked my blood pressure. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I crazy? Is Victor going to regret this? Talk to me.